You've spent years pursuing success, climbing the social ladder, and meeting the expectations of everyone around you. The pressure to succeed, to outperform others, has consumed you. But now, standing at the pinnacle of your achievements, you pause. Something feels off. You've achieved everything you were told would bring fulfillment, but you still feel empty. You've never felt more alone, even though you're surrounded by people. The applause, the accolades, the recognition, all of it seems hollow. You've always been told that success is the key to happiness, that if you just work hard enough, fight long enough, and sacrifice enough, you will one day arrive at the place where everything makes sense. But here you are, standing in the very place you've worked so hard to reach, and you're confronted with a harsh reality: it's not what you expected. This feeling of emptiness, this nagging sense that something is missing, could it be that your entire path was built on a lie? Could it be that the very nature of success, power, and achievement that you've so fiercely chased has actually led you astray? You may find yourself asking, what if everything you've been told about power, success, and fulfillment is wrong? What if the relentless pursuit of power is not the answer, but part of the problem? This question, that perhaps success itself is an illusion, or that the ways we've been conditioned to pursue it might actually hold us back, begins to gnaw at you. Perhaps, just maybe, you've been living under a false assumption about what truly makes you happy or fulfilled. The uncomfortable truth that comes to mind is this: the more you achieve, the more you lose of what actually matters. In your relentless pursuit of external success, you may have overlooked the most important aspect of your life, your inner self. The tension in your chest begins to rise as you realize something essential has been missing all along, and it's not more accomplishments that you need, but a deeper, more meaningful connection with who you really are. But how do you reconcile this? How do you let go of everything you've built to confront this unspoken truth? Here lies the paradox: the more you seek power through external means, the further you drift from true, lasting fulfillment. As you stand at this crossroads, you feel the weight of this question pressing on you: is the pursuit of power, as we've been taught, the ultimate key to success, or is it an illusion that keeps us trapped in a cycle of emptiness and disillusionment? And now, as you're confronted with this question, you feel the overwhelming need to find the answer, something that shifts your entire view on success, power, and fulfillment. The need to break free from the illusions that have defined your life becomes all-consuming. But how? This, my friend, is where the journey begins. The very answer lies in the recognition that the illusion of power you've been chasing has been obscuring your path to true freedom. The moment you let go of the illusion and begin to understand what real power is, your entire existence transforms. At the heart of this paradox, the disillusionment with success and the realization that everything you've been striving for may be a mirage, lies a deeper, hidden problem. The nature of power, success, and fulfillment has been fundamentally misrepresented by society, the ego, and our psychological conditioning. This issue isn't just personal, it's deeply embedded in the fabric of how society operates and how human beings understand themselves and their place in the world. We have been taught, from an early age, to value external markers of success: wealth, power, social status, and recognition. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is determined by our achievements and the approval of others. But beneath this surface-level reality lies a profound existential struggle. What happens when you begin to question the very foundation of these values? What happens when the pursuit of success, rather than bringing fulfillment, leads to emptiness and despair? The first layer to peel back is the ego, that part of the psyche that constructs our sense of self based on external accomplishments, validation, and societal acceptance. The ego thrives on comparison, competition, and validation. It constantly seeks to reinforce its sense of worth by measuring itself against others, which is why we often place so much emphasis on external success. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists in history, referred to the ego as the conscious part of the psyche that mediates between our inner world and the outside world. Jung believed that the ego is necessary for navigating daily life, but it often becomes overinflated, creating a false sense of self built entirely on external achievements and approval. This false self becomes a prison that traps individuals in a cycle of constant striving for recognition, power, and success, never allowing them to connect with their true, authentic selves. Jung's concept of the shadow, the unconscious part of the psyche that contains repressed thoughts, desires, and aspects of ourselves that we deny, also plays a significant role here. The shadow is often ignored or buried beneath the weight of societal expectations, leading to an identity that is disconnected from our true nature. The ego suppresses the shadow, fearing the unknown parts of the self, and in doing so, reinforces the illusion of control and external validation. Now, let's zoom out and examine the societal forces at play. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned by society, culture, and family to seek external validation. Society teaches us that success equals material wealth, social status, achievement, and recognition. The more we attain these external markers of success, the more we are rewarded with approval, admiration, and praise. The problem is that this societal conditioning often becomes a vicious cycle. We are told that our worth is measured by what we have and what we achieve, but once we've attained it, the sense of fulfillment is fleeting, and we're left hungry for more. Jean-Paul Sartre, a French existentialist philosopher, argued that the look of others, how we perceive others perceive us, shapes our very identity. We become who others think we are, rather than who we truly are. This phenomenon, which Sartre calls the objectification of the self, traps individuals in a world of external validation, where their sense of worth is tied to what others think of them, rather than their own internal compass. This conditioning is perpetuated by capitalism, media, and advertising, all of which feed into the belief that success, happiness, and fulfillment come from acquiring more, whether it's more money, more possessions, more social status, or more admiration. The message is clear: you are only as valuable as your external success. But what if everything we've been taught about power and success is wrong? What if true power isn't about domination, wealth, or recognition? Nietzsche, another towering figure in philosophy, introduces the will to power, the idea that power is not about controlling others, but about asserting and expanding one's own strength and self-affirmation. For Nietzsche, the strongest individuals are those who create their own values and live authentically, independent of societal expectations. In Nietzsche's view, the need for external validation is a weakness, and true power comes from embracing the inherent chaos of life, confronting suffering head-on, and redefining what success means on an individual level. The Übermensch, or Overman, represents the person who rises above societal norms and creates their own values, finding meaning in life through self-overcoming rather than through conformity or approval. The truth, according to Nietzsche, is that the pursuit of external power and validation, as dictated by society, is ultimately a form of weakness. The very structures that promise us success, whether it's fame, wealth, or status, are the same ones that trap us in an endless cycle of chasing something that will never be enough. As you climb the ladder, you may reach the top, but the view doesn't satisfy you, it only leaves you wanting more. As we dig deeper into this issue, we must confront an uncomfortable truth: we often measure our worth by the things that have the least true value. We rely on external markers, career achievements, material possessions, accolades, the approval of others, to determine our self-worth. But this system is inherently flawed. When our identity is based on what others think of us, or on the things we accumulate, we become trapped in an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, saw life as driven by an endless will, a will to live, that keeps people trapped in their desires and needs. He argued that desire, whether it's the desire for possessions, status, or recognition, creates suffering because it's never truly satisfied. As soon as one desire is fulfilled, another arises, leading to an endless cycle of striving and suffering. In Schopenhauer's view, peace and fulfillment are found in detaching from this endless cycle of desire and learning to find satisfaction in the present moment. This insight challenges the conventional narrative of success that has been drilled into our minds. It suggests that our pursuit of external validation is not only futile but also the root cause of our dissatisfaction. The very system that promises to make us happy is the one that perpetuates our suffering. So, why does this issue persist? Why do we continue chasing after what we know is unfulfilling? The answer lies in the psychological traps of cognitive biases and neurological wiring. Our brains are hardwired to seek validation, and we are subconsciously influenced by social conditioning from a young age. Social proof, comparison, and cognitive dissonance keep us locked into the cycle of seeking approval, even when it leads to unhappiness. You've realized that much of the pain and dissatisfaction in your life stem from seeking external validation and striving to meet societal expectations. But the consequences of this way of living are not just personal. They reach deeper, subtly shaping both your individual reality and the broader societal fabric. The beliefs and behaviors shaped by the need for approval affect your emotional health, your relationships, and even your sense of identity. But there's more. These consequences, although invisible at first glance, create a ripple effect that permeates every part of our society. The first unseen consequence is deeply psychological in nature: the cognitive biases that keep us trapped in the cycle of seeking external validation. Cognitive dissonance, social comparison, and confirmation bias are just a few of the mental traps that work behind the scenes, driving us to chase goals that ultimately leave us unfulfilled. Take, for example, social comparison, a psychological phenomenon where we measure our worth by comparing ourselves to others. It's a deeply ingrained part of human nature, and it's further magnified by social media and modern culture. You scroll through endless images of other people's achievements, vacations, promotions, relationships, and your mind automatically compares those snapshots to your own life. The result is an ever-growing sense of inadequacy, because you only see the highlights of others' lives, not the struggles or sacrifices behind them. This unconscious behavior is reinforced by confirmation bias. We gravitate toward information and experiences that validate our beliefs, which, in this case, are rooted in the idea that success is achieved through external measures. Even if we have moments of doubt, our cognitive biases guide us toward reinforcing the illusion that if we just reach the next milestone, whether that's a promotion, a bigger house, or more followers, we'll finally feel complete. The more we confirm this belief, the further we stray from understanding what truly makes us happy or fulfilled. The second unseen consequence is emotional: the toll that living under the constant pressure of external validation takes on your mental health. The emotional exhaustion that comes from seeking approval and constantly measuring yourself against others creates a deep sense of emptiness. Anxiety and depression often emerge as a result of this ongoing emotional strain. Your mind tells you that you need more recognition, more achievement, more success, yet even when you get what you think you want, it never truly satisfies you. This leads to feelings of emptiness, a pervasive sense that something is missing, despite your outward success. The emotional toll also includes self-doubt and imposter syndrome, where you feel like a fraud even when you've achieved success. You've spent so much of your life building your self-worth around external achievements and validation that it's hard to believe that you are worthy of anything without it. This inner turmoil creates an identity crisis, where you question who you really are and what you've become. The result is a deep psychological and emotional fragmentation. You feel as though you are living someone else's life, a life dictated by societal standards rather than your true self. You may even become numb to your own desires and needs, disconnected from your authentic wants and motivations. You're no longer sure of what truly drives you, what excites you, what fulfills you, because you've been chasing someone else's dream. The consequences extend beyond the individual to our society as a whole. We live in a world where success is measured by external markers: wealth, social status, material possessions, yet these things, though desirable, don't bring lasting happiness. Society, driven by the pursuit of these external ideals, often leaves little room for authenticity, inner peace, or emotional connection. It prioritizes productivity, appearance, and consumerism, while sidelining emotional well-being, personal growth, and community connection. This societal mindset leads to collective disillusionment, where people feel disconnected from each other and from the deeper aspects of life. We are encouraged to look outward for validation, success, and fulfillment, but the pursuit of these external markers creates a lack of meaning and alienation. Instead of fostering connections and building genuine relationships, society often promotes competition, comparison, and superficial status seeking. This emphasis on external achievements and status breeds inequality, stress, and an unhealthy obsession with success at any cost. Those who fail to meet society's expectations are often stigmatized, leading to further feelings of isolation and inadequacy. The pressure to constantly keep up with others, to maintain appearances, and to conform to cultural norms results in widespread mental health crises and a sense of collective despair. Moreover, this societal conditioning often reinforces destructive cycles, where consumerism becomes the central focus of life. The emphasis on acquiring more material possessions, accumulating wealth, and achieving social recognition blinds individuals to the deeper questions of meaning and purpose. This creates a shallow, transactional society where people measure their worth by their possessions rather than their character or their contribution to others. The more we achieve externally, the more isolated and disconnected we become from the core of who we are as human beings. The most pressing unseen consequence is the urgency of breaking free from these cycles. The longer you remain trapped in this illusion, the more difficult it becomes to escape. Your mind continues to feed you the same lie, that success will bring happiness, that external validation is necessary for your worth. But with every step you take in pursuit of external goals, you move further away from your true self. The cost of staying in this trap is high: self-alienation, emotional exhaustion, and a life that feels unfulfilling despite outward success. The more you strive for recognition and approval, the less you feel alive, and the more disconnected you become from your true purpose. Breaking free isn't just about changing the way you approach success, it's about changing the way you see yourself, your life, and your role in the world. It's about letting go of the illusions that have been ingrained in you and reconnecting with the deeper truths that have always been inside you. But before that breakthrough can happen, you must first realize just how deeply embedded these illusions are in your psyche. Only by facing the truth can you begin to shed the falsehoods and uncover the path to real freedom. The realization that you've been trapped in a cycle of external validation, seeking approval, and chasing illusions is not a comfortable one. It's an unsettling awakening, one that forces you to confront the limitations you've imposed on yourself, both by societal conditioning and by your own mind. But this realization is only the beginning. The true challenge comes in breaking free from these constraints and rediscovering your authentic self. If you've been living with the belief that success, happiness, and worth are determined by external factors, whether it's wealth, status, or social validation, then you've been living in a prison. But now, the door is open. The question is, how do you walk through it? To break free from the chains of this illusion, you must first embrace the uncomfortable truth that the power to reshape your life lies within you, and not in the external world. This may sound deceptively simple, but it requires profound shifts in perception, thought, and action. To take control of your life and chart a new course, you must first challenge everything you thought you knew about success and fulfillment. The first step in breaking free is to redefine success on your own terms. Success, as defined by society, is often superficial and based on arbitrary metrics: money, status, social recognition. But the real question you must ask yourself is, what does success mean to me? This is not an easy question to answer, especially if you've spent years basing your self-worth on what others think. Yet, this step is crucial in liberating yourself from the false beliefs that have held you captive. Friedrich Nietzsche, in his concept of the Übermensch, or Overman, proposed that true greatness comes not from conforming to societal norms, but from creating your own values and living in a way that aligns with your innermost desires and potential. The Übermensch is someone who rises above the conventional and creates a life based on personal authenticity, not external validation. This is the essence of self-empowerment. You must reclaim your power to define what is meaningful for you, not based on what others expect of you. Start small by asking yourself, what do I truly value? What brings me joy and fulfillment, regardless of societal pressures? Begin making decisions that reflect these values, and slowly let go of the expectations that no longer serve you. A central obstacle to breaking free from external validation is the ego, that part of yourself that clings to the need for approval, recognition, and status. The ego fears rejection and craves external validation to feel worthy. But the ego's control over your life is illusory. It is not who you truly are. You are not your achievements, your possessions, or the accolades others give you. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the shadow self, argued that much of our psychological suffering arises from the repression of parts of ourselves, parts that don't fit the socially accepted version of who we should be. The ego often suppresses these parts, creating a disconnection between who we truly are and the identity we project to the world. To break free, you must begin to embrace these suppressed aspects of yourself and learn to distinguish between your true self and the false self your ego has created. This requires you to question your self-doubt, that nagging voice inside your head that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll never measure up, that you need to keep striving for approval. The truth is, self-doubt is often the result of the ego's fear of vulnerability and rejection. When you begin to separate your self-worth from external validation, you can quiet the voice of self-doubt and reclaim your inner strength. The next step is to cultivate mindfulness, the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. So much of the anxiety and dissatisfaction we experience comes from either dwelling on the past or obsessing over the future. When you live with a constant focus on what you've done or what you need to do, you become disconnected from the present moment, from the only place where true happiness and fulfillment exist. Jean-Paul Sartre, in his existentialist philosophy, emphasized the importance of personal freedom and the need to embrace life's inherent absurdity. He argued that we create our own meaning in life through our actions, and by embracing freedom and accepting life as it is, we can begin to live authentically. To free yourself from external validation, you must learn to embrace the present moment and see it as enough. This does not mean ignoring your goals or desires, but rather fully experiencing each moment without attachment to outcomes. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation, journaling, or simply taking a walk and paying attention to your surroundings, can help you reconnect with your true self. When you are fully present, you begin to notice the subtle beauty and meaning in everyday life, something that is often overlooked when you are trapped in the pursuit of external validation. A crucial part of breaking free from societal expectations and self-doubt is embracing your vulnerability. The ego thrives on control, perfection, and fear of failure. But the path to freedom requires you to accept vulnerability as a strength, not a weakness. Vulnerability is the gateway to personal growth and authentic connection with others. It is through vulnerability that you can show up as your true self, without the need for masks, facades, or external approval. Brené Brown, a researcher and expert on vulnerability, argues that vulnerability is not winning or losing, it is having the courage to show up and be seen, even when we can't control the outcome. It is the willingness to take risks, to fail, and to learn from those experiences. When you embrace your vulnerability, you break free from the shackles of perfectionism and the fear of judgment. This means allowing yourself to make mistakes, to fail, and to learn from those experiences. The more you embrace vulnerability, the less power the ego has over you. You become liberated from the need for approval, recognizing that your value does not depend on being perfect or living up to others' expectations. The final step in the rebellion is to live authentically and create your own path in life. The key to breaking free from societal conditioning and external validation is to forge a path that is uniquely yours, based on your true desires, values, and goals. This path may not look like what society tells you it should, and that's okay. In fact, it's the very reason it will be fulfilling. Authenticity is the key to fulfillment. To live authentically is to act in alignment with your deepest truths, to follow the path that resonates with your soul, not with the expectations of others. This requires deep introspection and courage, but once you begin to take steps on this path, you'll find that the weight of external validation and societal pressures becomes lighter. You'll no longer feel the need to prove yourself to others or to conform to a life that isn't truly yours. When you start living authentically, you create your own definition of success and fulfillment. You will no longer be lost in a cycle of seeking approval. Instead, you will find a deep sense of inner peace and purpose that transcends anything external. To break free from the cycle of external validation, you must embrace your true self, reject societal conditioning, and redefine what success and fulfillment mean for you. By cultivating mindfulness, embracing vulnerability, and living authentically, you can reclaim your freedom from the illusions that have held you captive. True power and happiness come from within, not from the approval or recognition of others. The journey to break free is not easy, but it is the most profound and rewarding journey you will ever take. Embrace it, and reclaim the life that is truly yours. Imagine waking up one day with the realization that everything you've been striving for, everything you thought would bring you happiness, was never the answer. The accolades, the social validation, the material possessions, they all feel hollow. You are standing at a crossroads, the weight of the illusion lifting off your shoulders. There is no longer any need to chase after what was never meant to be yours in the first place. The truth, as you now see it, is unsettling yet liberating. You have been living for someone else's dream. Every choice, every step, every goal you set was based on the belief that it would make you happy, yet happiness was always just out of reach. Now, the most powerful realization of all dawns on you. True fulfillment isn't found in external achievements or recognition, it is found in living authentically, embracing your uniqueness, and finding peace within. This is the ultimate truth: the life you've been chasing isn't real. The life that's truly worth living is one where you stop seeking external validation and instead turn inward to find your own worth. You've been playing a game with an invisible set of rules, but now you know that the game was always rigged by society's standards. The final, most powerful realization is this: true power, happiness, and fulfillment come not from external sources, but from within. The power to define your life, your success, and your purpose resides within you. The very act of living authentically, without the need for approval, recognition, or validation, is the key to breaking free from the illusion. Letting go of the need for external validation is not just about rejecting societal norms, it's about reclaiming your sense of self. For too long, you have been playing a role, living according to the expectations of others, and measuring your worth by things that are fleeting. You have been trapped in the illusion that success, power, and happiness are defined by the world around you. But now, you know better. You've realized that true success is not the accumulation of wealth, possessions, or social status. Success is living a life that is aligned with your values, your passions, and your authentic self. It is waking up every day with a sense of purpose that comes from within, not from what others think of you or from what you own. This liberation comes with a profound sense of peace. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone, and the weight of societal expectations lifts. The world outside may still demand conformity, but you are no longer bound by it. You are free to create your own path, to live on your own terms. The illusion of success that once held so much power over you now fades into the background. In its place is a quiet, powerful truth: you are enough as you are. The validation you once sought from others is no longer needed because you have found the most important validation of all, the validation of your own being. The final realization shifts your perspective on success and fulfillment. You begin to see that you don't need to follow anyone else's path, you create your own. No longer are you tied to the prescribed formulas of success that society hands you. The world is full of opportunities for you to explore, create, and experience life in a way that is uniquely yours. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, the overman, becomes clearer now: the idea of a person who transcends societal norms and creates their own values. This is not about rejecting others or living in isolation, it is about embracing your power to shape your own destiny. You are no longer a passive participant in the game of life, you are the creator of your own rules. This realization also leads to freedom from comparison. No longer will you measure your worth against others. No longer will you feel inadequate when you see others achieving what you once thought you wanted. You now know that their success doesn't diminish your own potential. In fact, the path to success is not linear or uniform, it is deeply personal and uniquely yours. The most powerful insight that comes with this realization is that fulfillment doesn't come from the end result, it comes from the process. True happiness is not found in what you accumulate or achieve, it's found in how you live. It's found in the relationships you build, the experiences you create, and the way you align your life with your core values. As you start to live more authentically, you realize that the very act of being true to yourself brings a sense of peace and fulfillment that external achievements never could. The quiet confidence that arises from living with integrity and authenticity is far more valuable than any external recognition. This is not to say that external success has no value. Success can still be part of your journey, but it will no longer define you. You will no longer be driven by the fear of missing out or the need to measure up. Instead, you will be driven by the desire to live a life that feels true to you, to embrace every moment with purpose, and to be content with who you are. This freedom, this truth, is incredibly powerful. The realization that you no longer need to chase after external validation is liberating. The pressure to fit into predefined molds of success fades away, and you are left with the power to define your own life, to create your own meaning, and to live according to your own values. In this moment, you understand that you have always had the power to create your own path, it just took the courage to break free from the illusion. The truth is not out there waiting to be found, it has always been within you, waiting for you to awaken to it. You are not defined by your achievements, your possessions, or the approval of others. You are defined by the choices you make, the way you live, and the person you choose to be. When you embrace this truth, you stop living in fear of the unknown and start living with a sense of peace and purpose. The journey from illusion to truth is not easy, but it is the most powerful transformation you can undergo. The path to fulfillment is not paved with accolades or approval, it is paved with authenticity, self-awareness, and the courage to live according to your own values. Now that you have uncovered the truth, it is time to walk in it. You are free. You are enough. And the life you have always longed for is now yours to create.